All right, what's going on, Fofo Nation? All right, so I'm gonna jump right into it. I was asked a question by one of my kids a few nights ago, and really got me thinking. So I told my kids that I was going to take them out shooting. They had some questions. Now I feel like I really need to answer some things. My intention is to take my family out, take them shooting, probably 2-3 times a year. Is that really enough practice? No, it is not. However, I am broke. I'm not broke. I can't afford to take my family out shooting like that all the time because I have a lot of kids. They they were trying to understand why I don't take them shooting more often. Well, the child that asked, and I was trying to explain to them that uh, the rounds cost money, and with all of them going out and shoot, it adds up real fast. Let's say you know, I'm taking them out, and it's 200 rounds apiece. I'm at 1,200 rounds off jump. That's 7 kids shooting 1,200 rounds. Then I have myself and my wife. That's another 200 rounds. That's like 100 rounds of 9mm and 100 rounds of 5.56 or 2.23, whichever is cheaper at the time. So that's kind of something that you're going to have to work through with your family, and like taking them out to the range and getting them comfortable shooting. You have to think about how much things cost and how much the rounds cost. uh, I don't take them out shooting with 308 because that's $1 a round. If you're shooting just ball, I don't shoot just ball. I have a very precision, you know, um, rifle. I mean, you guys have now seen it. I've showed it. That thing's a tack driver, and you take kids out shooting a 308 with match grade ammunition. You're paying a lot. While I was at designated marksman school, I was shooting a Mark 15, or I'm sorry, Mark 14 Mod 2. So it is an accurized Mark 14. It's an M14 that's on an EBR chassis. That's the Mod 0. Then you have the Mod 1, which is a upgraded version of that, which is, my older brother carried one of those. Actually, I'm not sure if he carried the Mod 0 or the Mod 1, but I was shooting the Mod 2, which is a completely accurized version of that. And while I was at school, I mean, we keep a round count, and I still keep a round count of every round that's went through my Remington 700. The amount of rounds I shot while I was at designated marksman school, I shot 900 rounds in 2 weeks. I shot a lot compared to some of the other guys in my class. I outshot them by like 200 rounds, which is a lot of rounds. And that's Alpha Alpha 1-1, which is it's like a match grade ammunition. It's just like a Sierra Match King. 187 or 175 grain match round that I was shooting. And that's still what I shoot now, which is much more expensive than regular ball ammo. I think for 20 rounds, I paid $45. That's quite a bit more than just the ball ammunition that you can just go and buy for $1 a round. So you have to be very conscious of what you're shooting and what you're training. So I have a DMR rifle and I shoot that a lot. But I also use a very expensive kind of ammunition for that specific rifle. So I can make shots that most people can't. I'm shooting, prairie dogs at 650 or beyond. That is not it's not cheap to shoot prairie dogs like that, by the way. It is not. It's almost not worth shooting the prairie dogs. However, I do it because I'm getting practice shooting at small targets that are a long ways away. So could I push out to 700-800 yards on a man-sized target? Absolutely, I can do that. However, that's a big difference in cost. So if you're going to go out shooting and just train your kids or your family, you probably need to think about that quite a bit before you actually go ahead and start training them. 9mm ball ammo. I don't even know how much I pay for that because I buy it in bulk. And I think that when I bought the last bit that I did buy, I bought I think 500 rounds for like $300, and that was a while ago. It's probably been a year since I bought ammunition, which I do need to buy ammo right now. I think that I'm now below 1,000 rounds currently, and that's just 9mm. And I like to try to keep like 1,000 rounds on hand, just because that I like to shoot, and I shoot a lot. And with 7.62 or 308, that gets pretty pricey. So if you have a AR-10 and you're shooting ball ammo out of it, just know that you're paying quite a bit more than if you were going to shoot a 5.56 or there are cheaper ways to shoot than shooting with a 7.62. It gets pretty pricey. All right, so going back to the 308 rounds, they're expensive. If you're trying to shoot on a budget, 308 probably not the way to go. 223, 5.56, those are more budget friendly. I shoot my 308 probably once every 2 months. But I also have specific things that I'm shooting at, and I keep it zeroed just because I need to confirm that if I need to take a shot where I'm having to make adjustments in my scope, I need to know right where my zero is. This last summer, I did not shoot hardly at all. I got thrown off of a horse, messed up my lower back, could not even walk, let alone lug my heavy rifle around and start shooting. I did shoot prairie dogs during the summer because my AR is a lot lighter. Not by much, but it is. I mean, it's a heavy AR. It's a full barreled AR, and I use it to shoot prairie dogs. That is a very small animal, about that big, about that big around. They're they're small, and they dig holes in our fields, and our cows have been known to step in those holes and break their legs. So getting rid of them is kind of important because we have a small cattle operation. So that's why I shoot prairie dogs a lot. If you're going to go out and you're going to shoot with your family and there's more than 4 or 5, it gets really costly. So think about all those things. If you can find a place where you can buy in bulk, do that. It's significantly cheaper. I want to say that I was paying probably 50 cents a round with buying just like a cartridge of the 5.56. But when I was buying in bulk, I was paying, I think, 41 cents. 40 29 or not 29, 39 to 41 cents around is what I was getting. And I think I was using luckygunner.com to for that. And I was getting good rounds. So that's kind of what I was going for. There's another couple of sites. Kerr Ammo. They're pretty good. You can get some good deals on there. I like um, more expensive rounds just because I'm shooting further, and that is I'm going for more precision kind of shooting rather than just burning through rounds. I do have to buy some M80 ball because I just enrolled in school. I'm going to school for um, firearms technology, that kind of thing, and they're sending me 3 kits for firearms that I'm going to be building during my schooling. They're sending me a lathe so that I can make the parts for certain uh, parts of my firearm, and I'm going to do an AR-10. One of those will be an AR-10, so I will be getting that M80 ball and paying probably $1 a round just because it's a battle rifle. That's what that is. So if I'm going to shoot that, I'm going to shoot the cheaper stuff because I'm going to be burning through it a lot faster. Um, and when I go do classes, I have a fighting rifle and I have a fighting pistol. I'm sorry. I have to go through the progression or I say it wrong. I have firearm safety. Then I have, uh, I have a concealed carry course that I will be doing. Or I will be starting again. I go in 20 days. Nope, that's 18 days. I have 18 days before I go to um, a my school to get my concealed carry instructor certification again. Then I have a fighting pistol, fighting rifle, a CQB class, a long range class, and each one of those builds on the next class. If you have more than like a basic understanding of firearms, I may let you skip a couple classes. But if you don't, I'm generally going to make you go through all of those classes. There's I forgot a class. I have a battle rifle class that I will be doing after I get an AR-10. I had an AR-10 at one point and I got rid of it because it was a while ago, and the technology really wasn't there for a really reliable AR-10. That is changed quite a bit in the past. I want to say 10 years. So that's something that I will be doing. I think that a good battle rifle right now, uh, Scar or a what's that? Daniel Defense has a really good AR-10. That's a really nice one. There's actually Ruger's got a good one. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. At any rate, there is a progression to the classes that I have. The reason that you want to go through the progression the way that it's laid out that I have is because each class builds on the next. So longer ranges are kind of where I enjoy shooting. I've never done any of the like PRS courses or anything like that. I've never competed like that, but I do enjoy it. So those classes build on each other. They get progressively more information, and they get a little bit harder the more you go. The reason that it works like that is because I want people to have a good knowledge base before that they get into the next class. Just because at the class that I'm getting ready to do, I didn't do that. There's a couple guys that I don't actually know how they're going to shoot. I have shot with a couple of them. They're decent shooters. They're not like perfect, but they're good enough that I would trust them. The other two, I haven't shot with them, so I don't know what to expect. And that was my own fault. I messed up. I said that I would do this class for them, but I'm starting to kind of regret it because I don't know how that they're going to react and how they're going to shoot. I'm sure it'll be fine. However, I'm going to have to go baby steps. That's kind of the way that I'm going to be approaching it, as baby steps. Also, things to think about when you're going out and shooting with your family. Targets cost. If you do not have like a steel setup where you're shooting steel, you're going to go through targets pretty quick. If you have wooden target frames, people are going to shoot them. Just know that you're going to shoot those, and you're going to have to rebuild them at some point. It's not a lot of fun, but training is very important. So just have to know you have associated costs that aren't necessarily right there in your face. I like to use the spray adhesive when I go out instead of using a stapler. I use staplers for years. And it works. That's fine. However, you're spending a lot of time downrange instead of actually shooting. So, put that spray adhesive on, slap a target up, and you're good. And you can roll back down. If people want to keep their targets, yeah, it's a little bit more of an issue. But when you're qualifying people for shooting, that's a little different, because most people will want to keep those targets. Most of my concealed carry classes, that's been the general thing. They want to keep the target and show that they are shooting well, and I'm good with that. I'm really good with that. However, when you're going out and you're shooting rifle, and it's not for like a qualification, if it's just like a class that I'm going to be doing and showing people how to shoot and shoot effectively, there's several drills that we're going to be doing. There's the Bill drill, there's El Presidente, and the Mozambique drill. Those drills, yeah, they're fun to shoot. They really are fun to shoot. The Bill drill is just 6 shots, just as quick as you can. The El Presidente is 2, 2, 2. You have 3 targets set up, and you're shooting 2 in each, 2 in 1, 2 in the center, and 2 on the third one, and then you're going back and doing the same thing. So it's 2, 2. It's 2, two, 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 and it's a lot of fun. Mozambique drill, it's two to the chest, one to the face, and it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun to shoot it. So, and with those, you're gonna hit stuff you don't mean to. Well, I won't, but students will. So they're gonna shoot your targets. You're gonna have to rebuild targets. It happens. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. However, it's not cheap. So you have to think about those kind of costs. If you're going out to a range where that they have steel, it's a lot better. But you have to buy flangeable rounds, so you're not shooting holes through metal, which I have seen. People are using armor piercing rounds and they shoot through steel targets. I don't think that it's very smart to be doing that. Use flangeable rounds, which you're getting the same effect, but 5.56 is not a big deal. 308 usually is not. I know that there are some armor piercing stuff that'll go through those, but it's not super common. But flangeable rounds are cheaper most of the time if you can catch them on a good deal. Sometimes they're more expensive. I don't know. I haven't really looked at flangeable rounds in a long time, so I'd have to really research that again. But make sure that you're taking those kinds of things into consideration. After you got your ammunition and your cardboard and your targets and all those things kind of accounted for, scale that up for however many people you intend on going to train with, especially if it's like your family. They're going to probably tear some of your stuff up, and you need to make sure you have those kind of costs in mind. With that all being said, you can't drink all day unless you start in the morning. You guys have a wonderful evening and have a good one.